What up, guys? Welcome back to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship. It's your girl, Coach K. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you have subscribed to the Upgraded Mindsets Media channel before we even get started, because if you know, then entrepreneurship is a roller coaster ride, and these episodes are so much fun to, one, have conversations with other dope, amazing women, but to also provide you with the value and insight that we know as women entrepreneurs we need. We need to hear the support. We need to hear the thrills, the spills, but also the expertise and the insight. So this episode is going to be no different. And if you see my beautiful face, then you see I'm not alone. So I'm going to allow my guest the honor of introducing herself. Hello.
So great to be here today with you. I'm Lynn, and I'm the founder of Masami, which is clean premium hair care, but also the Conscious Beauty Collective, which is a group of indie beauty and wellness founders creating co-marketing to help each other grow, because we're really trying to make the beauty industry more beautiful, because
I
it's
love
not.
it.
And we're going to talk about
Love
that.
it. I love it. And we are going to dive all into those things. We want to hear more about your backstory a little bit, and also how we got to where we are with multiple businesses, because you are a multi-business owner. I'm super excited to dive into some conversation with you today.
Well, the multi-business thing was a little more accidental, but yes, we'll talk about that.
I get it. Let me tell you, I get that for real, for real. So please share a little bit more about your backstory and what got you started with the first business.
Yeah, right. The first one. Well, okay. So I spent almost 30 years in advertising, in the advertising industry, which, is when I started, was very Mad Men-esque, still very male dominated.
Feels
And I worked my way up, and I was actually the CEO of a fairly large agency, but I was not enjoying it. I kind of was feeling like, the top job is not all it's cut out to be. I'd gotten really far away from doing the things I loved, which is building brands. And so I left in 2018. And then I met my co-founder, who'd been working on hair care formulations for about 10 years. He
Mm.
worked at Clairol for about 20 years, and he has zero experience or maybe even interest in commercializing a business. So it was a good fit, because that's what I really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So that was the first business. It's called Masami, and it's a hair care business. And we cleaned up the formulas. We did a lot of testing. We wanted our product to be super inclusive. So we tested on all hair types and textures, including 4C, the most extreme damage hair we
Mine,
could find.
mine. I'm
Your hair
definitely
would love it.
4C, baby.
It doesn't look like that, because I see you've got your.
Yeah, these are definitely braids right now, but let
Yep.
me tell you, I braided because so just to dab on it a little second, I've only become like natural in the last couple years. I have always had
Interesting.
chemicals, perms, for ethnicity. Perms straighten our hair. So I wanted that straightened look because I always wore my hair short. Like you have your hair short, I
Yep.
always wore my hair short. Like my hair used to be this short at some point in time. So in order for me to maintain that type of style, I did have to use, perm and chemicals. So the last couple years is when I realized that I got 4C hair, and it is tough, and I am tender headed. It hurts to comb.
Oh, yeah.
Like I know I'm talking too much, but yeah. So I
No,
love
that's.
that you have products for everybody. I think that's so important. So that's so dope. I love to hear that.
Yeah, and our chemist has 4C hair. So that was sort of what we said. It's
Mm,
like, formulate for yourself and it'll work for the rest of us.
that's a
And
fact.
yeah, and I think that is kind of the truth. It's like, if people just sort of engineer things differently, then the products will be, I think, better, and like I said, more inclusive. That was an
Yeah,
important. We wanted to be
I love
a
that.
diverse brand. So yeah, we spent about a year and a half working through the brand name, the packaging, the go-to-market strategy, the e-com site, all that stuff that has to get done. And that's just to get it launched. Then the real work comes after, which people don't
Come on.
realize.
Tell them, Lynn. Tell them.
Yep, yep. That's when the work starts, people. So that was business number one. Business number two was, I launched this little beautiful luxury candle business inspired by the island of Dominica, which is a southern Caribbean island. They had gotten wrecked by the Hurricane Maria in 2018. And we decided to launch the business to help them repopulate the bee population, because we build hives down there and we get our wax from the bee co-op down there.
Oh, nice.
But I had to sort of park that business to the side, sadly, because I got cancer in 2021. And that was like a I can't do it all moment. And so
Right.
that business, but this is the problem. I parked that one and then I end up launching another one when I was coming out of my treatment, which is the Conscious Beauty Collective. Right? I know. Trust me, I'm laughing too, although some days not so much.
I know. I know. I
So anyway, but I launched the Conscious Beauty Collective as an opportunity because I really saw the brand partnerships as being so valuable because we launched right before COVID.
yeah.
Those were so good for us to grow organically. And I wanted to be able to create a community where people are sharing and creating insights and helping each other grow. So it was really to help Masami. That's why that business kind of happened.
Yeah.
And that business has gotten quite large. It's been really good because I
That's
like to
awesome.
see other brands succeed. That really gets me excited too.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really
I think
fulfilling working
that's
with other founders.
I love it. And I want to just say, like, shout out to you for one being a survivor, and even with Masami,
Literally.
you launched that like right before the pandemic began. So at that time, you didn't know that that's what was going to happen, So I know that there were a lot of like even unexpected challenges that you probably endured or maybe went through, but you've overcome those, and I think that that's so amazing. It just shows the power of resilience. And also too in 2021 with breast cancer. This seems like there was something continual that was trying to restrict you and hold you back, from elevating these businesses. But when you're conscious based and purpose driven, which you clearly are, because it shows you speak so confidently about your brands, and I love that. I'm all about that.
Mhm.
But the things that you're able to overcome and continue to, but not only that, you have built a hell of a community. And I love that it is collaboration over competition with you.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest success point I can like look
Yeah.
at and say like it's the community because I will tell you, and this is for other entrepreneurs too. As I
Yes.
said before, you launch it and you think people are going to come, but the real work starts when you realize how hard it is to acquire a customer, how expensive it is to acquire a customer, all the work it takes, all the content you need, all the people telling you no when you're trying to get onto different
Yeah.
channels or distribution. And so the community is so important to help because obviously we share insights, learning what not to do,
Right.
who not to work with, who to work with, all those good
Yeah.
things. But it's also a great support system for the days when you're just feeling really crappy, because those days will inevitably happen. And so you just have to, you have to build up your sort of stamina.
You do.
You don't get burned out. And you have to recognize when you are starting to feel burned out that you can dial things back and you've got other people that get it.
Yeah. And I think that's so critical because everything that you just said, and even going back to what you said a little bit ago, the fact of how long it took you to like launch the first business, right? Having that, marketing background and whatnot. A lot of times we see, and because I work with women in the startup phases from the planning to the blueprint to the purpose and establishing all of those things, we want an overnight success story. And it's just not logical. So I love that you really touched base on it, and I love that you said it took you got a year and a half just to launch. Just to
Yes,
launch.
just to launch.
Now that's not everybody's story. Don't, and of course, industries and things can vary. But the bottom line of it, and the reason that I'm stressing on that is because it does take time, it takes effort, it takes strategy, it takes conversation, it takes collaborative efforts, it takes partnership. All of those things are so critical. As women are the strong woman, right? We want to do everything on our own. And I love that you were vulnerable enough to say, you know what? I'm leaving the corporate world, but I know that I need to find somebody that can assist, aid, and help me with the beginning of the process, but also the continuation, but stressing the beginning side of that. I don't think people realize how important it is to have that team out the gate.
Oh my gosh. Well, the other thing I always tell people, because I, did this for a living, but like
Hmm.
really defining your brand purpose, your brand values up front, oh my God, makes your life 10 times easier down the road. So it's so important to get your brand values, your brand purpose, your really the things that will never change, like get those lined up and set. And it makes your life easier when it comes to your content, when it comes to your partners, who you
Yes.
hire. I mean, oh, you could literally, your sustainability practices, all that stuff. Like you can really go back to kind of your core values and what you're trying to build. Because
Absolutely.
sometimes what happens is you'll find that, you know what, hair care is not selling. Now, in my case, it is slowly, but
Period.
slowly. But, say that it wasn't. If you've got a brand that's built around values, who's to say you couldn't pivot what you're actually selling if you really believe in what you're doing? And so that's really important. A lot of people skip over that part because they just
They
think
do.
they have a great product and they fall in love with the product and they just want to launch it and get it out there and they forget to like think about all that stuff. But that's part of what it means to be like a conscious entrepreneur
Ooh,
is
yes.
thinking about all those aspects of your business, and
I
we
think that's so it is. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, for us, we launched in plastic bottles, but it bothered me from the beginning.
Mm,
But we're in the shower, it's like you can't really have glass in the shower, right? So I ended up launching a year after we launched, I ended up launching these large size ceramic refillable bottles and refill pouches. Now they're better, but they still break. I mean,
yeah.
they were not gonna cut you the way little shards of glass would in the
Glass,
shower.
right, right.
You know what I mean? But it still can break and it's heavy and it's not perfect, but it's a journey. And so then, but because that's important to us, we're like, you
Mhm.
know what? That was a step in the right direction, but let's keep innovating and looking to see what else is out there. So I keep looking for other materials. Maybe we'll go to aluminum, although, back at the time when we were looking, it wasn't a great option because people have this perception it's going to leave a ring on your tile or your marble or whatever, like
Mm,
a rust, even though I don't think it would. Anyway, you run into
yeah.
all those things. So it's like you just have to figure out, but if it's important to you, you'll try, you'll experiment.
Man, because that's it right there.
Yeah.
You will try. I love the word that you said, conscious, because that is really what it's about. Anybody can start a business. Anybody can say they want to sell a certain product or a certain service. But like you said, it's not just about the product. It's about your values, your beliefs behind those products. And I think that that's super important. I can honestly say I know me personally, my success stems from become staying purpose driven. Of course I want to make money. Let's just be real, guys. Like I always have to say that because people feel like that I don't want to make money, and that's just not the case.
Yeah.
But I can't put the money as the top priority for me when it comes to what I want to do. When I'm coming to support women, when I'm coming to coach them or educate them or speak to them through this podcast. This is purpose driven for me. I love having conversations with women about the thrills and spills of entrepreneurship. It is a part of me. It's a part of my alignment. So I think it's important, but I also love that you're being meticulous about continuing the research on finding what's going to work best for you, because that's your conscience telling you that I have to continue to be purposeful in that. So I think that that's super dope.
Yeah, and sometimes it defies sort of business acumen, if you will, or
Mhm.
where you're doing something that on paper is going to cost you money,
Yeah.
but you know that it's the right thing to do for the business and for the
Yeah.
brand in the long term, and so you just have to trust yourself on those things and
Yeah.
know that not everything can be explained to your accountant as forward as you'd like,
Yeah,
but it's important.
it is. I agree.
And yeah, and it does really help when you have a community of people who are doing the same thing because then I can hopefully get some shortcuts, right? And I'm not having to do
Right.
all this on my own.
Yeah, I love that. And I do. I want to talk more about the Conscious Beauty Collective because that is, I love that. Like anytime I hear people talking about, oh, I've got a community of women, I'm all about it. I'm all ears. I really want to hear more about it.
Yeah. So I realized when we launched during COVID that the brand partnerships were so great for organic growth on social and email.
Mm,
And those are warm leads that are super valuable, right? So if you think about what it costs a small business on Facebook to get those leads, it's over $100 these days, at least for
yeah.
my category. So, being able to do it really affordably is great. And so that's why I decided, you know what, this is really good for me and the other brands, take it to another level. Instead of just
Yeah.
doing 2 or 3 partnerships at once, let's do 40 or 50. So now we actually have 65 brands that are part of the Conscious
Ooh,
Beauty Collective.
that is so dope.
All good for you, good for the environment, almost all female founded, not 100%, but almost all. I had to let a few men in to be inclusive. You know how that goes.
That's all right, that's all right, as long as the initiative aligns,
Yeah,
it's okay. We're not
exactly.
gonna block them out all the way.
We need some allies too, so
There you
that's all
go.
good. Yeah, but everybody is really community minded, gives back, and that's the other thing too is like as small businesses, we can make products that are really high quality in terms of our ingredients we
Yeah,
use. We can take out all the toxins that are still in 90% of the beauty products and at least in hair care in the mass market, which is shocking to me. And then I just heard this morning that actually our administration might be rolling back some of the bans on forever chemicals, which I hope that doesn't happen, but we'll see.
yeah,
So that's that. But
yeah,
yeah, but anyway, so the idea of aligning on these values and then creating a place where we can come together as so many of us, because numbers matter, and
they do.
this is the reality. You can do an awesome job in your little world, but if nobody sees it, so now with our 65 members, we have a reach of over a million on Instagram, on any
That's what's
channel,
up.
really. And
Yeah,
so it starts to be meaningful because you can feel like, okay, that's making a dent. And we can hopefully change the industry better because we're the ones doing the education. Like I said before, we're making our products better because we're putting in really high quality stuff. We're not putting in cheap sulfates and things that,
right,
the
right.
big brands have a hard time replacing because they're so inexpensive
Mhm.
and they don't want to raise the price of your favorite shampoo all of a sudden
Yeah,
because they took out that bad stuff. So it's like it's a lot harder than people realize for an established brand to make those positive changes
yeah.
because they're stuck in kind of legacy thinking and channels and suppliers and all that
Yeah.
good stuff. So for small brands, we can do it right from the get-go. That was the point of my long
Yeah,
winded.
no, no, you're good. Oh, I knew where you was going.
Yeah. We can do it right from the get-go. We can make a brand that's based on the right things, that gives back to the community. All of the brands in the Conscious Beauty Collective have some type of charitable contribution that goes back to, it can be all different causes, but we give back. Mine is ocean research. Other brands are, one has addiction recovery, others have just 1% for the planet or whatever it is. But at least that's built into our DNA. It's not an afterthought.
Yes, I
And
love that. That is so dope, Lynn, like, so dope. Not only with you, but the fact that you have such a growing collective who are aligned with that. Like, that is like, I don't wanna say impossible because I believe that anything's possible, and I definitely have that mindset, but to actually hear about it in real time, I'm just so amused and amazed because there are a lot of people out here who feel like that these type of things don't exist, they don't happen, and especially us women, we are big to say, "Oh, I don't trust anybody." And I definitely know that you definitely within the collective have had those weens like, I don't know, let's see. But people's vibes and their energy and their movements tell it. We have to just be mindful and pay attention to those things because we will just brush it off because we're so excited about the collaboration and the collective. But you still have to be mindful, and especially as the founder of that, how do you go about just kind of making sure everybody stays in tune with each other?
yeah, exactly. And sometimes we get a bad apple. I mean, just like in anywhere, right? There's a founder who doesn't play nice, takes and doesn't give, doesn't support the other brands, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I've had to have a couple uncomfortable conversations over the last couple years where I have to basically kick them out, vote
Yeah.
them off the island kind of thing. And it's rough because, you want to help everybody, but then if their mindset is not the same, they're not a good fit. Like,
They're not.
so it's not, I'm not saying that, we're right and they're wrong, but it's like if you want to join the community, there are certain sort of
Yeah.
expectations of the community. And if you're not
Right.
up for that, you don't want to do that, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not here to force anything on anyone, but then you shouldn't be part of the community. You know what I mean?
Straight like that.
That happens too,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But
Yeah.
most of our brands are super engaged. We have 14 pop-ups we're doing right now across the US.
Nice.
5 in New York City, 3 in Miami, 1 in LA, 2 in Atlanta, 1 in Palm Springs. I'm missing one. 1 in upstate New York at Petal and Hive, 1 in Virginia. And
I
so,
love that.
yeah, so we're doing all these pop-ups, which is great. And most of our brands, once they get in the community, they love it and they do multiple. So, like, the majority of our brands are in 3 or 4, and the pop-ups, what essentially they are is we create a curated shelf of clean beauty products that we pop into a salon, a boutique, a med spa, that kind of thing.
I
And it's
love
a way
that.
for us to get visibility and distribution, and they get a curated set of products that's pretty unique. I don't think any store has the same set of products. In fact, I know none of them do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love how you touched on like more than just the social media side because, as starting businesses, we sometimes will just depend on the social media to promote our product and our brand. I be out here in these streets. And when I say that, it's like I attending networking events, but also not just as a vendor more so, but also as a supporter.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to realize that it's important just for you to say, hey, I'm going to go check out what this event is going on, maybe shake a few hands, meet a few people. You never know who and where you're going to be and where that opportunity is going to align. So I know that not only you guys are doing vending, but I also know that you guys, and I'm pretty sure, are out here like, hey, let me tell you a little bit about this, but also being in that supportive factor too. And I just think that that's amazing. You guys have an amazing ecosystem.
Thank you. Yeah, it's gone really well. I mean, it's a lot of work because I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, I didn't really think this was going to turn into this, 14 pop-ups and counting, but it's worth it. I wouldn't
Yeah,
do it if I didn't think it was worth it.
exactly.
And it's ultimately, it's helping my brand get visibility and grow, which is why I'm
There it
doing it.
is.
I'm spending all my time doing it. But yeah, it is an incredible community. And I'm such a, clean beauty is so important. People don't realize how much toxic
Yeah.
stuff they're putting in and on their bodies every day, whether it's your makeup, your shampoo that you're scrubbing in your scalp, which is a very absorbent part of your body, your
Yeah.
skincare routine, whatever. So we are big advocates in trying to help people get educated so that they, and again, I had my cancer a year after I launched my business. So it wasn't a
Mhm.
result of me having cancer, but
Right.
I've worked on so many toxic beauty brands over the years in my advertising life, and I've used a lot of them for years and years and years. So I don't know.
Yeah.
My cancer is not genetic. I don't, it's some environmental.
Yeah.
It could have been my beauty products. I don't
And it's
know.
facts. Because at the end of the day, we know that there are cancer-causing agents in so many things, and it's growing and growing and
Yep.
growing. So, we know that, as a cervical cancer survivor,
Yeah.
same thing with me. So, it's like, I don't know where it came from. My family doesn't have a history of cancer. So, it's like, being knowledgeable and being aware, but also advocating to make the changes because we know that changes won't happen overnight. And when I speak on changes, more so people who use the same products over the years, right? People who,
Yep.
oh, I've been using this brand for 20 years. Okay, but guess what? We found that it's got, XYZ in there. And we know a lot of these products are made more for profit, not for health, not for benefits, not for anything, strictly for profit. It's just the
Yeah.
reality. So it's just really us becoming more conscious and aware of the products that we do use. So I love that you guys are tackling that initiative, but also you have a community behind you that's ready to ride with you. And I absolutely love that for you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been really fulfilling, and look, I'm
That's what
just
it's
I'm just
about.
happy to still be here, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's not a
Yeah.
guarantee for anyone.
Man, especially nowadays. Like, so with that, and you've navigated the industry, whether you're in corporate America, your health challenges and the hurdles, within the businesses. I would love for you to share, just some insight to those that are listening, those who may be thinking about the journey, on the journey and stuck. Anybody that's dreaming about it, what's one piece of advice you'd want to leave them with?
Well, I mean, just be prepared. Well, a couple things. I kind of touched on it before, the brand values and purpose, get that ironed
Mhm.
out. Figure out also if you have a partner, what your superpowers are, because sometimes people gravitate to people that are like them, but that doesn't usually work great for a partnership because you're stepping on each other's toes sometimes. And then just, be prepared for the long game. That's the best advice I can say. It's not even overnight successes are not overnight successes most of the
There you
time.
go.
99% of the time. There are a few, but they're so few and far between. And usually the people that have overnight successes are a celebrity or somebody who's super well connected and had a lot of
Yep.
VC money, or, like they're usually not real normal people, and people don't realize that. And so you have to kind of set yourself up for the long haul, which means you probably need more money than you realize. You're going to need more skills than you realize. It's day in, day out. When when you launch a business, you don't have any downtime. You have to make it, you have to manufacture
Ooh,
it.
come on.
'Cause you're working 24/7, and if a customer is emailing at midnight, and you're awake, I mean, my husband will tell you, that's like, I can't resist. I have to get back to that person immediately. That's my own issue, but, it's just,
Yeah,
my point is it doesn't ever really end. So be
right.
prepared for that. Because a lot of founders think, I'm gonna just do this for a couple years and sell the brand. And it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Especially if you're conscious based, especially if it's conscious, if it's something that you're wanting to elevate, elevate the business, elevate the brand, but elevate your purpose behind it. Because I have no intention on selling upgraded mindsets. I definitely
Yeah.
will probably be walking in purpose with this forever. Now, things may look different, but the one thing about it is I'm going to always make sure this platform is able to empower women, uplift and educate and give us the tools to be the best versions of ourselves, whether it's personally or professionally. So that's not going to change. So, and I
I
love
love
that
it. I
you're
love that you do
dedicated.
that, and you're sharing so much knowledge and giving people an opportunity to have a voice. I mean, that's just super
Thank you.
important.
I appreciate that. So please let us know what you got coming up, what 2025 is looking like for you still at this point, and let us know where we can find you on socials.
So I've got a lot going on. One of the big things I'm doing is rebranding the Conscious Beauty Collective. So stay tuned. I'm not going to say more about it now, but we will be embarking on that journey. And then you can find us at lovemasami.com, LOVEMASAMI.com. And our social handle is Love Masami Hair, pretty much everywhere.
Cool, cool. And I'll make sure that those links are in the podcast description notes as well, guys. Lynn, thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
coming in, sharing your expertise, but also sharing your dedication and just being so purposeful in what you're doing, because I know that you're out here making a difference. And I so appreciate you stepping up and doing that, because we need you out here. So thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Before I go, again, make sure you have subscribed to the channel. If you are somebody who is looking to activate the best version of yourself as an entrepreneur, but also on the personal note, because those things have to be aligned for you to elevate your business in any form, do not hesitate to reach out to me. Visit the website at www.upgradedmindsets.life. Follow me on all socials at Coach K Transforms, and make sure you share this with your fellow entrepreneurs. All right. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. Bye.
Bye.